All right, guys, when it comes to what's going on in politics today, we're going to talk about the rate of inflation and what's going on, how it's impacting you, how it's impacting everything from your cost of living adjustments, Medicaid, Medicare, how it also impacts the economy right now. You're assuming that you're paying high prices now, but wait until the holidays get here. We're going to talk about all that in details here on Mostly Money. Well, my name is Andre, and you're watching Mostly Money, where you're going to get all facts. No fake, no phony, and no fluffed up information when it comes to what's going on in politics today. And if you're interested in getting this information on a daily basis, well, you've made it to the right channel. All you need to do for yourself now is subscribe. Click that bell notification so you get the latest and greatest information coming from Mostly Money, because we're going to always be here for you and your loved ones. Let's get started. We're going to take the time out to watch a panel of experts that talked about what's going on with the rate of inflation and what are the Democrats going to do about it, because they're the ones that are in control, so they're the ones that are mainly responsible for getting everything back on track, at least the way that it was before the pandemic.
We have this massive supply chain that we've been talking about this morning. Going into the holidays, inflation up 5.4% over the past year. How much of a political problem is this for President Biden?
Well, empty store shelves, people unable to buy Christmas presents. That's not a good thing for the president, to say the least.
Let's start right there. Remember, she just mentioned that the rate of inflation right now is at 5.4%. Remember that we just got a cost of living adjustment of 5.9%. You're thinking that you're getting a lot, but realize, calculating the rate of inflation, you're basically looking at a 0.5% increase when it comes to your cost of living. Even though you got that rate of inflation or that COLA that you received for 2022 starting in January, the average person will get about $47, and on average that means that the average person will be able to receive about an extra $550 this year that's coming up. The rate of inflation may surpass that. It may end up, by the time January hits, the rate of inflation is at 5.8, 5.9, or even 6%, wiping out all the cost of living adjustment that you are scheduled to receive. That's why it's sad that they only use July, September, and August to calculate the cost of living adjustment, when they should do it all the way until December, because those metrics of those months where we use more electricity, more heating, more gas, and things like that, those should be taken into account, not just the summer months when it comes to how they calculate your cost of living adjustment.
Biggest concern here is, does this lead to even more inflation? You know, Martha, one of the numbers I saw, sets of numbers I saw this week that really hit home on this is the cost of shipping a container from China. If you go back to 2019, pre-pandemic, it was about $1,300. Now, $16,000 to bring a container from China.
Now realize exactly what he said. I had that situation just occur for me. I had a package coming from the United States. Small 1 pound package was $200. I asked the guy, why was it so expensive? What he said was that a package or shipment going into United States is extremely inexpensive compared to a package leaving the United States. But due to the rate of inflation, due to the fact that there are not enough workers out there that are doing the jobs to making sure that the products are coming in on time, and there's problems with the businesses and the distributors right now, as you can tell, just for one shipping container to make it to the United States, $16,000. That means it is just as expensive to ship into United States as it is to ship out.
That ripples through the supply chain, it's going to make things more expensive, high inflation. And look, the biggest factor here, the single biggest factor, is that people are buying more stuff. So there's an underlying bit of good news here. People have the means and desire to buy more things. The problem is the supply chain has not caught up.
And the White House did announce this 24/7. Actually, some of them were already doing that. I saw that there in the ports. But you can't really do that if you don't have enough workers. Did the White House move quickly enough on this, Mary Alice?
Yeah, they want to show that they're on it. They're getting private companies together. But unless they take extreme measures, and unless all of a sudden we're talking about the National Guard unloading container ships, we're really talking about the White House putting public pressure on private companies. And in that way, getting involved is sort of a catch-22. They had to do it early. They have to show that they're paying attention. But at some point now, they own this because he's been involved, and that's risky because, like I said, there's not actually that much the White House can do.
She's absolutely correct. Let's go back to the beginning of what they just stated. There are a lot of workers that are on strike right now. They realize that they hold the upper hand. They hold the cards, the unions for the ports, that they do all the unloading of products that are coming into the country. They want more money. B, we already know that there are 11 million jobs in this country that are open that people aren't taking advantage of. And this includes some of those port positions. So now when it comes to products coming into the United States, the rate of inflation is going to continue to go up because not enough products are being distributed across the states. Even though they may be coming into the ports, there's not enough workers, there's not enough truck drivers due to the fact that supplies are not making it to the stores basically for us to purchase these items. So therefore the president has been trying to work with private workers, but the most that he could do basically pressure companies to try to pressure their distributors in China or in Singapore or in India to be able to send the products faster or even at a less expensive cost. And that's why I said, remember, this is going to impact the value of your cost of living adjustment, and it's also going to impact the value of the U.S. dollar.
Except continue to put pressure on these private companies.
And then keep going out and talking about it and saying it's under control. And speaking of that, Stephanie, the Treasury Secretary, said she thinks the prices will go down soon, and there's no need to panic. That's not what I heard out there. That's not what I'm hearing across the country. But we're talking about medical supplies. We're talking beyond the economy. We're talking about military families who can't get their furniture and household goods back from deployments in Asia. This is really hitting the American public.
It really is, and American families, they're the ones that are feeling this, and it's hard when you're in it to be in the mind frame of, in the next 6 months, we'll get away from this and things will be better. They are in it right now and trying to survive so that when they are going to the grocery store and seeing these increased prices, where is the comfort? Where are the tools to help them? The Treasury Secretary is saying this is transitory, but also saying that this isn't going away in the next month or so. And I spoke with the Deputy Secretary a few days ago, and I asked him, was there anything the Biden administration could have done to prevent this, to get ahead of this, to prepare for this? And he didn't exactly answer that, but did say that this was expected, that the economy just hasn't transitioned with us out of this pandemic.
She's absolutely correct, and the person that she spoke with, even though we don't like it, we already knew when they shut the country down, they shut down production around the world. When they shut down production around the world, that impacts what we can purchase and what we can't purchase. So right now, nothing is back on track right now. It's going to take, as they mentioned before, and I think this is the first time that I've said this on this channel, it's going to take at least to 2025 for America to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I really believe that. I heard that from several economists. So if we think that everything is going to get back on track in 2022, they've already made an estimate that 2025 will be the year in which America will start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Even though many of us may be vaccinated, many of us may be back at work, but to see the economy back to the way that it was, at least pre-pandemic, it's going to take at least to 2025.
And says it's going to take time. He says the president, of course, is focused on these issues. He touted the American Rescue Plan, the emergency impact payments, the child tax credit, and says it is going to take a while for the supply chain to catch up with the demand.
And meanwhile, there is going to be panic buying.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
About that, I think.
When you say don't panic, people tend to panic.
Exactly.
Right.
Don't panic, but make sure your shelves are stocked.
And when you start talking about Christmas.
Yes.
And order now.
Panic. Yeah, and Christmas and your children, and you definitely want to do that.
Now, they're absolutely correct. Holidays are right around the corner. We've got Halloween coming up. We've got Thanksgiving coming up. We've got Christmas coming up. We've got New Year's Eve coming up. We got the big four coming up right around the corner. And if you want to add on a fifth one, we got Black Friday coming up. And so a lot of individuals will be expecting, like it had been in the past, for the products to be on the shelves. That's not necessarily true. That's what they're letting us know right now. The products that are going to be on the shelves, even though you have the money to purchase them, may not be the products that you want or even at the price that you want. A Black Friday deal may not be a Black Friday deal as much as you would think it would be this year. The Cyber Monday may not be as, it may take a little bit longer for the product to get to you after you've ordered it on Cyber Monday. You may have to give out a lot more Christmas cards than Christmas gifts this up and coming year. And when it comes to Thanksgiving, you may not be able to spend as much as you normally would. Not because you don't have the money, but because the products are not on the shelves. Just imagine all the people on Thanksgiving that want to purchase all the food that they want to purchase, and those supplies and those foods are not on the shelves. That's what they're trying to prepare us for right now.
Rick, we're still more than a year out, however, from the midterms, but the economy is clearly becoming a huge issue, and the Republicans are already taking advantage of that, doubling down on this.
Yeah, think about it. The election's about pocketbook issues. If your pocketbook feels that much lighter because you can't afford things. And Republicans see now an emerging set of issues like inflation, like rising gas prices, like rising crime rates, and of course the fact that the pandemic is still ongoing. And they say this is a brew of issues that they can make into something against Democrats. They say, look, they promised that they would bring some stability, but there hasn't been that kind of stability in your life across this range of issues. And this inflation thing in particular is problematic on another level, because guess who keeps talking about inflation as a concern?
When it came to the Republican Party, as I mentioned before, they are folding their hand. Mitch McConnell and the rest of the Republican Party are sitting back, folding their hands, waiting until 2022 to where they can get power back if you vote them back in. That's all they care about is the power. They could care less about you getting your medical supplies, working alongside with the Democrats to make sure that you get medical supplies, food, making sure that you get your household items. The Republican Party, no offense to anyone that's Republican, but the Republican leaders could care less about what's going on with you and your household and your pocketbook, because all they're thinking about and licking their lips for is for the elections of 2022 to take place, so they can walk up to you on the podium and say one thing: I told you so. All they're thinking about, like I always say, are themselves. The Democrats are hurting themselves when it comes to the infighting. The Republicans are hurting themselves by way of not helping us at all, fighting against us. So either party is not supporting us at all. And then you got lowly Bernie Sanders in the middle, Mr. Independent, who's fighting on our behalf, but there's only so much that Bernie can do by himself.
Bills, Senator Joe Manchin from West Virginia, one of the big holdouts on this, he's worried about the idea of pumping even more trillions of dollars into an economy that might already be overheated with excessive demand.
And he's worried about a lot of things. and John, of course, on Capitol Hill, we have the infrastructure, the spending bill. What's the progress on that? We know Nancy Pelosi has now set a deadline.
Yeah, Halloween. I don't think that deadline is going to be met. But Steny Hoyer, who runs the floor schedule, says there will be votes coming up on both the infrastructure bill and this larger social infrastructure bill. But it's not looking good. You saw Bernie Sanders, who of course has been leading the charge for a big social infrastructure bill, the budget chairman. He actually wrote an op-ed in one of the West Virginia papers going right at Joe Manchin, saying that by standing in the way, Joe Manchin is hurting West Virginians. And Joe Manchin responded with a blistering statement. I want to just read a sentence from this. I will not vote for a reckless expansion of government programs. No op-ed from a self-declared independent socialist is going to change that. So it doesn't look like Bernie Sanders' efforts to pressure Joe Manchin have gotten him any closer to voting for this. And remember, they can't do it without him.
This amazes me when it comes to Bernie Sanders and Joe Manchin. He calls Joe a socialist only when it's time to do something for the people. But when it's time to do something for corporations in 2016 and 17, Joe, as well as the rest of the Democrats that went along with the Republican Party, voted to make sure corporations got everything that they needed and did not call any of them socialist. They made sure that they spread the wealth for the rich. But now when it's time to spread the wealth for you guys or for us, it looks like they could care less. Now all of a sudden Bernie Sanders and anybody that looks out for the American people are considered socialists. My point when it comes to this particular video is for you guys to be aware of what's going on with the rate of inflation. Once again, how it's going to affect the cost of living, how it's going to affect the U.S. dollar, how it affects the supply chain when it comes to products that are going to be coming to the United States, and be prepared for what's going to take place during the big 5 holidays. Once again, Halloween, Black Friday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. This may not be the year to do it the way that you did it in the past. So be prepared to put yourself in an economic situation that best fits you, because January 2nd will come and all these holidays will pass by, and you don't want to be stuck paying debts that you accumulated during the holidays, especially with the rate of inflation that we're looking at right now that's constantly going up each and every day. Well, my name is Andre with Mostly Money, and I'm here to give you all facts. No fake, no phony, and nothing fluffed up. And if you're interested in getting this type of truth on a daily basis, well, you've made it to the right channel. All you need to do for yourself now is subscribe. Click that bell notification so you get the latest and greatest information coming from Mostly Money, because we're going to always be here for you and your loved ones. I am on my way to the comment section. I'm going directly there, and if I don't get a chance to speak to you, you don't get a chance to speak to me, we are not going to fret about it, because I'll be speaking to you again